Peace, family. This is your boy Gerald. It's Friday, the 20th of April, 2018. I know that some of y'all are going to be celebrating what the symbolization of what 420 is. Hey, do you? But needless to say, I wanted to put a video out um, to culminate this weekend because you're getting ready to step into your weekend. You're bringing this week to a close. And I hope that wherever you are, wherever you hear this played, you hear my voice, take a second to reflect on everything that you have been exposed to, what has been brought for review, for clarity, for validation that took place this week. Because keep in mind when I put this out, family, just like now, nothing happens by chance. Everything is divinely done. Why? It is about the setup and the preparation for the person that you are destined to be. So you know you got to put that work in, right? I know there's a lot of people that think that because they breathe, they are entitled. Well, what is a gift earned with no effort? It is not valued. So let's apply that same statement, that phrase just now, and apply it to yourself. For some, you're putting the work in, you're doing it, and I commend you. Keep your feet grounded by speaking your truth. Place the Most High first in all that you do. Because I'm going to tell you what, there are going to be countless people that are going to want to catch you slipping on this earthly realm, on this physical plane. But keep in mind that you are a physical being second, spiritual being first. Why? Because if it wasn't spiritual, you wouldn't feel the things that you can't see. It wouldn't have an impact on you within. Why? Because you're priceless. You're priceless. This means it's meant to last forever, to sustain the journey that you own. Yeah, the commonality is going to be there are going to be people that can relate to what you have experienced, the example you show. But if that example is not the best example of what you represent, who's stealing your time? Who's standing in the way? Who's keeping you from you? I've echoed this out lately. I've had a lot of indirect validations be placed upon my life, and I've conveyed this with compassion, with empathy to the intended ear, the intended heart, the intended mind. See, it's easy to put a front up with a false audience. But at the end of the day, it's about being authentic to self first. See, if you can't be real with you, your dialogue, what you convey is paper thin. And eventually, guess what? That's why people fall short. That's why people are exposed. And it's not to do a disservice to the audience. It just shows the imperfection of the person conveying the message. So, let me roll this back a little bit. I got my coffee because as of the last, I'd say 4 or 5 months, I've been grinding my beans. I've been trying out different types of coffee that are found around the world. And some I like, some I don't. But it's organic, right? Just like you. But what I've realized since the first video I conveyed beginning of this year, I tried to express, be leery and identify the ant and the grasshopper. Because the ant will be diligent. The ant will be proactive. And the ant will stay the course no matter what is going on in its environment. But the grasshopper, nonetheless, will adapt temporarily, but not see the worth of the time that is being given. The grasshopper will not seize the opportunity of what is being bestowed. Self-empowerment. And self-empowerment can't be done without first self-reflection. But you can't self-reflect nothing if you will not acknowledge what exists. That requires transparency. That requires vulnerability. Because those two elements is what defines intimacy. Into me, I see. Do you like what you see? Because until you decide to be uncomfortable, you will not fully grasp the value of what it is. It's no different than a diamond. See, a diamond cannot release its luster, its fractions, without first starting as that coal, that lump of coal that is deep, buried. If that lump of coal knew how strong it was, why would it go through the process of becoming the diamond to begin with? But see, we live in an environment now, family, that we tend to condone. We turn a blind eye because of convenience, because we don't want to do the work. And it's okay, family, to admit that at times you're afraid. If you can't admit you're afraid, how can you expect your environment to reciprocate what you feel? But then to do so, then that means you must acknowledge what is present that you cannot touch, but you only feel, because it has an impact that does not know time. Kind of like what we know as pain. You know that word very well, don't you? You can't touch pain, but you feel it. But it's not until you acknowledge pain for you to change it. I used to always convey in my videos that your blessing is on the other side of that fear. No different than a door that has been closed but not locked. It doesn't matter how long you stand on the other side of that door until you decide to open it when you see what's on the other side. So we could easily say that's validation for the effort of being committed to yourself. So let me caveat from that. 2018 has been so eventful and impactful, and so many dynamics. If you haven't shaking your head is the reason why you keep it focused to not acknowledge what's going on. And what I mean by that is through it all, the one consistent example and uh, that has been perpetual is to not love yourself, to not commit to you. You do understand the moment you took your first breath, family, you were bestowed a certain path in life. And those spiritual gifts and talents, those were given too, because those will be the tools or the keys to unlock not only your true identity of who you are, but your rightful placement as well. Who am I talking to? So I'm gonna throw this in here real quick, and I'm gonna get off of it because I heard something today that was very disappointing, and I'm not gonna put the person's name out there, but they were bold enough to make the statement because that's obviously how they feel. And the one statement that was being put out there was the condonement to have the secret lover. We've gotten so conditional and lackadaisical in our communities that we've actually given them a pet name as of being the side guy, the side gal. And the person actually justified their position, and to each his own, that said, well, pretty much in a nutshell, when I don't feel like being bothered, I let them do. And depending on how they do, maybe we can have an agreement in the relationship. And that struck me because basically that was an indirect attack on on being monogamous. Now notice this last it's been okay, we're in April, so we can say for the last 10 months, you've seen a lot of people speak on the terms of uh, being in polyamorous relationships and trying to justify their position on why they support it. Now, like I said, to each his own. But the one thing that I couldn't understand, and I'm still trying to find logic behind it, is if it takes if it takes a lifetime to invest in you, that means it takes all your effort to focus on you. How are you gonna have time to give access not only to someone else, but at another? Unless there was an agenda to begin with. So you may hear in the background, I've got the Breakfast Club on right now in the background. I've got it on the TV because I've got Revolt TV, and they talked about it as well. And people call in, and I just waited. I just like there's gonna be somebody that's gonna show their teeth. It's just a matter of time. Of course, no guys called in. There was all women. And the one thing about it was, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute, Tyson's. I'm gonna put him in this chemo. Come on. Yeah. All right. It made me feel a certain kind of way because the female callers that were calling in, the call matrix in that went from I don't agree, I don't agree, I don't agree. And then now let's keep in mind podcasts, any live communication that has callers call in, you're gonna have them filter them calls because you're giving them permission to be online, be on air. And it didn't dawn, it dawned on it was just a matter of time. And they found that one that said, well, I feel the same way because if I don't want to do anything, then I'll let them do my light work pretty much, whatever it is. So basically what you're saying is you don't see your worth to allow that to be condoned. You're making a pass for what's being neglected for you. And then by clockwork, somebody came on the radio and said, hey, it doesn't matter. It just depends on how much money they got. So we're putting a price tag not only on our time, we're putting a price tag on our sexuality too. Which is counterintuitive because if you're condoning that type of behavior, then you might as well condone them calling you out at your name. You're also condoning them. You're basically giving them a pass to disrespect you. So really, when you think about it, you're not in a relationship. You're in an agreement, and agreements are temporary because it boils down to what? What can I get out of this agreement? But if it's not love, what do you have? A partnership? Is it business? Or are you really wasting your time? And it goes back to this. Hold this thought because I got to blow my nose. You've got to ask yourself, to be honest with yourself. And what I mean is this. You have some people that will not admit to themselves that they are deathly afraid of being alone. Which means you don't have a relationship. Because your first relationship you're going to ever have should be with him, with yourself. Because you as a human being teach how your reality or your environment is going to treat you. But for some reason, we skate right past that. We skate right past it. Why? Because it doesn't fit. It's not convenient to what you condone. Then if that's the case, why get mad when things are not your way? Why get mad when people waste your time? Why get mad when people do not see your worth or value your time? Why? Why get mad? That's hypocritical, family. You have no right to complain how someone treats you if you don't treat yourself right to begin with. But see, we're as a society, it's everything's about a price tag nowadays. It's all about, I don't care if it's right or wrong, as long as you can pay the bill. What? What? So you're saying no matter how she treats you, as long as she can pretty much be your sponsor, beneficiary, provider, you're going to give her a pass. The point I'm trying to make is this. You cannot say, I want to be respected if you do not respect yourself first. It starts with you, ends with you. I'll do one about it. Not to sound morbid, but when you take your last breath, there's this thing called a hash mark that will be on your headstone. And everything that you've experienced, everything that you stand for, everything will be embodied in that hash mark, will represent you. But it's your responsibility to pave the way for those that are going to come behind you. You are going to be that beacon. You are going to blaze that trail. That is the responsibility and the blessing to get older. You realize, family, you ask the average person, what's your purpose? They can't tell you. They shut down. They look at you like with deers in the headlights, and they don't understand the words coming out of your mouth because it's too real. Why? Because we're talking on the terms of intimacy, the raw essence of who you are. So, with that being said, I've got to also segue to this. You got a lot of people now that are trying to decode their lineage. And they think that if I turn around and take a little bit of this sacred saliva and put it in a little vial and I sip it off, it's going to tell me about where I come from. But yet they don't see the small print that all that does is facilitate the biggest thing of them all. Number one, those results only give you 0.1%. And it is speculative. But you know what it also does? It also puts your information, which you are paying for, in a big database known as the World Wide Web. So what do you mean by the World Wide Web, Gerald? What are you talking about? Think about it. If you think for 1 second, as long as you are using this tool right here, maybe your cell phone, your laptop, you may have a desktop. Number one, you do not own the internet, but you can control what is disseminated out onto it. When you hear people say, well, I can't believe my photos got leaked, right there shouldn't be a surprise because there has to be a source. So let's say hypothetically, you take some intimate photos and you want to share that with that significant person, but then it ends up on the internet. Why are you scratching your head on how it got there? Sender, receiver. Where's the lead? Where's the lead? See, the problem is you have a lot of people that, just like the coined phrase from a few good men, when Tom Cruise and Nicholas was in that courtroom, and Jack Nicholson retorted back to Tom Cruise about the truth, and he said, "You can't handle the truth," because the fact is, most people can't. And the reason why they can't, because it contradicts your ideology of how you function in life, your perceptions, especially if it does not suit you. Or if you don't like your outcome, you have an option not to entertain it. If you constantly are finding pushback, non-support, pain, you crying, you frustrated, you're stressed out, or even feel frozen, the question I have to ask you is this: what's keeping you loyal to that environment? When the truth of the matter is, there's no loyalty back from that environment to you. How can you find commitment to a choice that does not uplift you? Only result is misery. That's why running away. You realize how many people spend endless time and money running away from the things they need to stand up for? Wow. But yet, in a town near you, in a city near you, in a state near you, there's a community of people that are laughing at you. They laugh at you every time you open your mouth. So, oh, you're gonna protest, you're gonna march up and down the street. That's what you're gonna do. But it doesn't impact their money. It doesn't waste their time, because they have certain precepts involved, in place. It's just a bump in the road. If you want change, family, stop looking outside your door and look at the person in the mirror. The most important person you will ever come to know. That's YOU. You need to have that conversation with that little boy or that little girl that still lives in you now. Don't be there until you take your last breath. So if you are taking a position of saying, well, I'm in a dark space right now, I'm frozen right now, I feel a little numb right now, it's because you're afraid to address. You're running. But you know, every time that you choose to run, you are taking time away. You're taking time away from what should be focused on. And I told somebody very dear to me the other day, because they're going through something. I said, listen here. There's not enough love in a relationship that can hold a relationship together by one person. Hello, how are you? I see you. But see, I get it. Because deep down inside, if there's not a person on this planet that doesn't want to feel emotionally safe, that wants to feel at peace. If you're spending one iota of time having to look over your shoulder, remember what you said or what you did with whoever, you're not in control of your life, family. Your environment is. And all that's doing is holding your dreams and aspirations hostage. But to go back to what I was saying, I told them, I said, listen here, you can't make nobody do anything they don't want to do, family. It doesn't matter how much you may want to turn around and say, hey, I feel a certain kind of way, because they're not going to get it. Because you got to understand, before any action is done, there must be a decision. The action is exactly what it is. There had to be a decision made mentally before the action could occur, which only puts you in a position to do one thing: to embrace it or react to it. How are you going to react? How are you going to react? And let me tell you something. You guys got to get past these labels out here. Because a lot of these labels that people are trying to align themselves with, you know they're getting funded by the government, right? Follow the money. You might not like what you see as writing the check. That's why there's no change. There's no change because even those people in those positions, they know deep down inside until you decide to change it yourself, it'll stay the same. And trust and believe when I say this too. If it's that big, so grassroots, why do they have a tax ID number? Hmm? That's why you're hearing people, you got people doing this. Next boom, and I don't even, it has no merit on what I'm about to say, but I got to throw this out here. Be careful with your money. Be careful with your money. Right now, there's been a heavy focus on promoting cryptocurrency. You may know it as Bitcoins. You may know it as crypto. And there's other names out there. But you got to understand something, family. For that to actually work, that means the dollar has to be destroyed. That means your economy has to be destroyed. Why? Why do people do not put two and two together? And I know there's been people to tell me, well, Joe, you know, that's the hot commodity right now, man. You know, once it goes public, you know, those who jumped in, they're gonna have that payout. But right now, what y'all don't realize, Bitcoin been around for almost 5 years, and in those 5 years, they've already had 6 times where the market value bottomed out. 3 times in Japan, over $1.6 billion gone. They've already done it once here. Why? Because they want you to turn around and not see money, see your hard-earned money is value. They want you to put more emphasis. Now, granted, we are a technology-based economy. That's where we're going to end up going. But guess what? You also look in the book of Revelations, you'll see something too. But then again, that means you got to be spiritual too. You know, because that's the problem. Society believes too much in man. So the real question should be asked is this: what is it going to take for you to love you? Your homeboy, your stick man, little Quita that you call at 3 o'clock in the morning when you get those urges. Deep down inside, they don't give a damn about you. They don't care. That's why misery loves company. And that's why I can prophetically say this. Do you know who you are? Because if you do know who you are, you'll understand what's a distraction from what's priority. Your priority is to protect your legacy, your lineage, your bloodline. But see, we live in a world nowadays that you can't even go back three, three generations. We're too busy being distracted on trying to get high. But don't you realize no matter, you can't get, there's no amount of escapism to can take that pain out. Yeah, I mean, I know there's gonna be some people like, well, Gerald, it's 420. I'm gonna get blasted out of you. And you know, like I said, to each his own. That's what you do. But guess what? The same challenges that you had before you took that hit or took that drink or sexually, yeah, they're gonna be there. They're gonna be there when you come down. That's why there's no peace of mind in cloud now. You want peace of mind? Be the real you. And this is the thing I find funny now, because you still also you got so many factions out there, politically out there, that want you to enlist into what they doing. But if you don't have a clue on who you are to begin with, you don't even understand who's fooling you or what the end goal is. That's why in 2018, the image of the family has been so tattered and torn because they want to isolate you from the ones that love you most. But who am I to tell you? It's your life, just like it's your pain. And until you're ready to change that and get tired of having that emotional backpack over your shoulder, because some of y'all going through some things that took place 5 years ago. You're still rocking that now. Why? But here's the sad thing about it. There's a strong possibility the same people that may have caused you to have that mindset, they didn't even have access directly to your life, but they still have shackles on your mind. What about that? But keep in mind this, and because I done said enough. Don't worry about the people that are not in your life right now. Don't worry about the one that got away. Keep your feet grounded. Stay focused in bettering you. Be the exception to the rule. Because if you do that, not only will you sidestep a lot of drama that don't have your name in it, that's no different than a person. That's just like a firefighter going into a fire and don't know the source. You're not going to have the outcome that you expect. Sometimes it's best to be still, assess, and then act, then be impulsive. That's for somebody. You tired of your money being funny? Come up with a game plan so you won't have to. I know y'all know this, right? Somebody you know right now, all they do is complain about because they broke. But yet, you don't hear them talk about, hey, I need to go get me a second job. I need to cut back on my spending. You know what I'm saying? You don't hear none of that. Why? Because they have a love affair with that mentality. They like that. They like that condition. Otherwise, they would change it. Think about it. But here's the funny thing about that. Until you decide to do something about it, there's somebody sitting there, smiling, enjoying the fact that you don't because they're making money off of you. That's right. Why give just the bare minimum? You know, that's why like, if you got a credit card, don't pay the bare minimum because as long as you do, guess what? They make money off of that. That's that finance charge. Because you know what? They've got insurances in their company so that every time you default, not only is that bill going to get paid, but that's more money you're going to come out your, on the backside too. But I'm going to bring this home. But I felt a certain kind of way, family, because you got people that want to convince you that, hey, what one person can't do, another will. Just know this. There is one person. If you do the work, Queen, listen up. Listen up, Queens. See, Mr. Right Now would love to distract you from you. But Mr. Forever, he's going to show you the other side of your life. You got to make a choice. What's more important? Living for the moment or having your forever? Because little man, he don't care. Because man has already decided that this is his life. And he don't have a problem distracting you from yours. But on the flip side, you don't have a right to complain for what is given for you to accept. Somebody saying he talking about you. Listen here, Queen. King. If you ever get a chance, and if you're just stopping through, you see this video when you do. I got 2 videos in my catalog. If you're going through relationship stuff, and they're called How to Tell If He Loves You. And then for women, for guys, I've got How to Know If She Is the One. And if that person represents that, you're going to have a good life. But if they don't, what is it going to take for you to find you that? God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your work. And for that, it helps me discern mine. Because guess what? You can march as much as you want. You can lift your voice as much as you want. But until you have the courage to look at that person in the mirror